Sebastian River coming off a 72-37-point victory one night ago, back in action yet again as they travel north up I-95 to face Florida Air Academy in this non-district matchup. A pleasant good evening, everybody. Welcome once again inside the Sebastian River Sharks Basketball Radio Network. Kirk Agus and Chris Scala coming to you tonight on the Sharks Basketball Radio Network from Florida Air Academy. The Falcons and the Sharks get together for the second straight year. Last year, a Saturday night affair, 69-53, the Falcons over the Sharks from the Shark Tank. It was a very close game all the way through. Sebastian River kept it around a 10-point deficit, and ultimately a final score of 69-53, the Falcons pulling out the victory. Sebastian River, though, did shoot the ball very well, 57% from the floor, and free throw shooting was really good, decent, 63% for Sebastian River in that ball game. It'll be a different matchup this evening, though. These same two teams have a few of the different same returning starters from 1 year ago, but a few guys are lost in the shuffle as well. As William Wilson is off to North Florida, and Eblin has gone on to play at the University of Alabama, the Crimson Tide, and you could have seen him today on CBS as part of their game of the week as Alabama was taking on Mississippi State. But tonight, it's the Sharks and the Falcons from Florida Air Academy. Now, Sebastian River, back-to-back weeks and playing the Friday, Saturday night games. Of course, last week, you remember the come-from-behind victory over Vero Beach, and then turning things around, playing less than 24 hours later against the Gators of Palm Beach Gardens. And down by 10 in the fourth quarter, Sebastian River was able to mount a comeback and pull out the win. A loss on Wednesday night, an 11-point loss to Fort Pierce Central. The Cobras got one over on the Sharks, but Sebastian River bounced back nicely last night in a 72-37 victory over the South Fork Bulldogs. And it was Taquan McDew who got things started for Sebastian River. McDew had 12 first-quarter points to kind of lift the Sharks over the Bulldogs. And I caught up with Coach Adams earlier this evening and talked to Coach Adams about Taquan McDew's presence on the floor, and if everybody kind of felt that lift and the energy boost that he brought to the squad.
We were real pleased with the way Taquan handled himself last night. I thought he did a great job taking good shots, and it was good to see him get his stroke back, get his rhythm, and the rest of the guys I thought did a really good job. We tried something different in our pregame, and after we talked about matchups, we actually gave all of the players individual goals to try to attain. And I really thought it kept them focused. And Taquan's goal was to have a game where he shot 50%. And you would think that would be an easy thing for such a great shooter, but he hasn't had many of those this year. So by keeping him locked in on a 50% shooting percentage, I thought he didn't take any bad ones, and he only took the good ones, and that's what he should be doing.
Everything that went wrong Wednesday night against the Cobras, I think, went right last night. Crashing the boards, plenty of rebounds offensively, second chance opportunity points. Even the outside shooting, which wasn't falling down, it was coming up short on Wednesday. Everything seemed to be dropping. It looked as if that bucket was even larger last night than what it was 2 days prior.
It's a funny game. You know, sometimes the ball goes in, sometimes it doesn't. But, you know, I always tell our kids it's not so much about how we shoot the ball. It's really about, I think, two things. It's about defense and it's about rebounding. And looking back at the Central game, you know, I don't think we defended well, and we certainly got our butts kicked as far as the rebounding goes. So if you can defend and if you can rebound, you can be in any game and you give yourself a chance to win. But, you know, definitely we didn't shoot the ball well against Central. And I don't know if it was really not taking anything away from Central, but we got a lot of open looks we just didn't make. And then last night, like you said, the bucket was as big as can be, and guys were stepping in there, and everybody shot the ball great.
I thought everybody contributed. Everybody got PT for you last night. Shelvick Henry provided a big spark off the bench, 13 points. He got the Checkers Player of the Game award from Coach Jeff Sleppen. So talk about Henry's performance last night and the way he's developed over the course of this year.
Well, the coaches, you know, we have a little joke between us about Shell, and we say, you know, you're either going to get a touchdown from him or a pick six. You know, you're either going to get a strikeout or a home run, but he's definitely going to make something happen. And that's just, you know, kind of goes with the territory sometimes as a freshman. So we're trying to get him to play, you know, a little bit more under control and be aware of his surroundings. And, you know, I think in middle school he was such a big scorer that, you know, his role here is he's got to try to make other people around him better, especially when he's handling the ball. But as you can see in last night's game against South Fork, you know, you can run him off a high ball screen, he can penetrate and get in there. He's got a floater, he's got the little runner, he can, you know, shoot the pull-up. He's knocked down some threes for us. He's also one of our leaders on the team in steals. So the kid just makes plays, and the thing that I really like most about Shell is the fact he has no fear. And, for him to come in as young as he is and get these type of minutes, I mean, it's great. But looking into his eyes, there's never any fear. He's a very, very confident player. And some kids don't get that type of confidence until they get older. So he's unique.
Another young man that came off the bench provided a spark, a little bit of an energy boost, I thought, was Andrew Bowden. Didn't get a lot of playing time in the last week and a half to 2 weeks, but he made the best of the situation last night. At one point, coming off the bench for the first time, he had 3 rebounds in about 20 to 25 seconds. Talk about his play and taking advantage of an opportunity that just hasn't quite been there this year.
Well, for Andre, we were really pleased with his performance. He ended up with 8 rebounds, and he was very active. He's long. Obviously he needs to get in the weight room with us and get stronger, and we're trying to do that. He's a junior, and he's a kid who gave us some really good minutes last year on the JV. And, this year his role, obviously he doesn't get many minutes, but, we're constantly looking to develop our players. And, for him to get in there and battle and get those rebounds, we saw a lot of good things from him. And then, we also saw some things. He had 4 turnovers, and some of those turnovers were just a matter of not being strong out there on the court and taking care of the ball. So we talked to him, and we acknowledged him after the game, and he had a big smile. And, I'm really pleased because, a kid like that goes through all the work and all the travel and all the time, to see him finally get his minutes and produce a little bit really makes it worthwhile for all of us.
Back-to-back games now for the second week in a row, so you turn your attention to Florida Air Academy, a squad that I thought you played very well last year at home. On a Saturday night, you did it in a back-to-back fashion as you're doing here again. What do you as a coaching staff and the players have to do differently tonight to avoid the letdown start that you had last week coming off of the Vero Beach come-from-behind victory and the sluggish start against Palm Beach?
Well, first off, we didn't play South Fork last night, our starters, as many minutes, and we had that luxury to do so. And, the staff, we had a goal. We wanted to get guys in and limit their minutes. We also wanted to get to a running clock. By getting to the running clock, our guys weren't out there as long, and we could get them home early and get them rested. So, I really don't feel like this is a game against Gardens where our guys were mentally and physically drained and all of our starters played, 29 minutes like we did against Vero. This is a game where our guys, Keith got maybe 20 minutes, and some starters got 17 and 16. So they should be rested and ready to go. Florida Air is, one of the premier teams, I think, in the state, and our guys should be rested, and I know we're healthy.
Florida Air being one of the top teams in this state, they ran up against a quality opponent earlier this year in Dwyer, who beat them up pretty good, and you guys went toe-to-toe last year with Dwyer as well. What does this team bring this year? How different does Florida Air Academy look to you on film as opposed to the year you saw them a year ago in which you faced them?
Well, they're a military school, and they are an academic institution that happens to have kids that come in from all across the country, and some of those kids happen to be very, very good basketball players, some of the best in the state. So this year they have some new players, and they also have some players that they had from last year, and their strengths really, I think, are just they're very deep. They're very athletic. They have a couple players that can really shoot the ball from the perimeter, and they also have one of the top big guys in the state. So, I mean, they're just a very talented team from number 1 to number 12 on their roster, and, they're very comparable to the team that they had last year. We played them a close game at home and lost, and it was one of those games that I thought that even though we lost the game, we got better. So the challenge now to come here on the road and in their environment here and play against a top-ranked team, I think, is only going to help our kids and make them better.
Coach Slepin said last night in the Checkers postgame show about treating this game as if it's quarters 5, 6, 7, and 8, feeding off of the energy of what happened last night, finishing strong, and just kind of continuing that role. Is that the mentality?
Yeah, I'd love our kids to come in with the same type of confidence and freedom that they had last night. Our game plan will be a little bit different, whereas we can really get up and just wear a team like South Fork down because we have a deeper bench and we're more athletic. In a game like this, it is what it is. They're definitely a deeper team, and I have no problem saying a more talented team. But the bottom line is for us tonight is we're going to have to try to know when to play fast and maybe when to play slow. So, if we can keep this to a couple possession game, either we're up a couple, baskets or down a couple, and we can keep it close, we'd really like to be able to go into that fourth quarter and maybe be able to change some defenses and do some things with them. But don't be surprised if we pull the ball out a little bit and run a little bit of our delay, whether we're up or down early, just to keep the thing close.
Full court press, I thought last night, going back to that Sebastian brand of basketball. You started that from the opening tip. Did we see it early and often tonight?
No, I don't think you'll see it early. I think you'll need to see it in spots. I think if we come out early, like I said, they have 12 players that can play. I don't even suit, and dress 12 players. I only have 9. Of those 9, we're confident playing probably 7 of them, 8. So for us to come up and come out in a full court press and go up and down, really wouldn't work to our advantage. We're really going to try to defend in the half court, try to keep this a close game, and then be able to spring our different presses on them at different times and catch them off balance. Same type of game plan we had versus Dwyer last year. The problem comes in is if you get stuck too early and you have to go to your presses, you show your hand early. So, we have a strategy on how we think we can beat them, playing fast at times, holding the ball at others, keeping it a close game. And, don't get me wrong, if our guys come out there and, we can, Dwyer obviously beat them by 16, they were up 24. So, we're capable of putting the team away too. But, I would anticipate a close game tonight. And being a close game, I'd like to be able to throw some things at them, our presses at the end when we might need to steal a bucket or two.
Lastly, everybody healthy, same starting 5 tonight?
Everybody's healthy, same starting 5, and I think we're good to go.
You got it. Coach Adams, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Coach Adams on the Sharks Basketball Radio Network.
All right, good stuff from Coach Adams, as always, on the pregame show, talking about the victory last night and the tone that Taquan McDew set, that Shelvick Henry and Andre Bowden were able to feed off of, as well as others. Again, we are set to get underway here in just a few more minutes. Sebastian River against Florida Air Academy, and Chris Scala is down on the sideline. He's got Coach Adams for a live interview. Let's toss it over to Chris.
Thanks, Kirk. Down there on the court with Coach Adams. Coach, you got 2 scorers here for Florida Air, Kwame Osborne and Will Yeget, both averaging 18 points a game. How do you set the tempo to start this game to kind of slow down this Florida Air Academy offense?
Well, those 2 players are really gifted players. I mean, Osborne can really stretch the defense. He's a phenomenal shooter, one of the best I've seen in the state. Their big boy really does a good job inside, and he can also step out. They're a really talented team. For us, tonight's game is really going to be about tempo. We like to get up and down. We like to run, and certainly we want to do that. It's one of our strengths, but I think we also need to understand that I don't think we can run with them for 4 quarters. So we're going to have to be selective when we run, when we pull the ball out, and, use up a little bit of clock as well.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in tonight.
Thank you very much.
Back to you, Kirk.
All right, Chris Scala down on the sideline with Coach Adams. We got a couple more minutes in pregame warm-ups. We're going to step out, take a break. You're listening to Sharks Basketball on the Sharks Radio Network.